Hello, and welcome to Husky Talk Conversations with Cully and Conlon. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. And with me, as always, my cohort and partner in crime and hater of buses with no bathrooms. Wow, that is a creative one. The
That is
Western.
it's my gripe this week. We went to beautiful sunny Oneonta.
I
Sar-
know.
Sarcasm noted on Saturday, and we get on the bus, and it took us almost 4 hours to get there. It was brutal, and we get on, and the guy was like, "We don't have a bathroom," which any trip that's over 2 hours, like legally, you're supposed to have a bathroom on it.
Yeah,
And let me just tell you, like, first of all, girls pee way more than boys do. I'm convinced of that.
a
And
thousand times more.
yeah, like, so now you got kids that I'm preaching. We gotta hydrate for the game because we're gonna be sitting on this bus for 4 hours. So what ends up happening? We gotta stop like a million times, and it just like prolongs the bus trip. It's amazing. So I am
Well, the
officially a hater
same
of
day
it.
trips are tough too.
Yeah, because you're on the bus more than you're not, and yeah, it was not a good bus. The DVD player didn't work, no bathroom, seats wouldn't recline. It was like a nightmare. And then we got there with only 40 minutes left on the clock to warm up, and
Mm.
yeah, it was just not good all around. We played all right. We fought. I had
Yeah, I
my
saw.
Yeah, my starting point guard went down with a knee injury, which wasn't great. So we're still waiting to hear what happens there. We were missing four kids. Um, so it's, all in all, not the result we wanted, but I took some positives out of it. I think we easily could have lost by 30, and we didn't. So,
No, you fought
um,
hard.
yeah, we kept fighting. We cut it to single digits twice after going down by like 18, so that was good. And I'm playing mainly freshmen, so
Yeah,
you
you got
know,
it such a big roster turnover and so
yeah.
many kids to plug in. Um, SUNY Oneonta isn't one of the nicest places in the world, and
Yeah,
it's a, it's
I'll
a,
tell you what, they have a nice gym.
they do. Their gym is nice.
Yeah, their gym is really nice. The people there were really nice, but it was uh, it was a hike, man. It said,
Yeah, when you said 245, I'm like, there's no way it's
well,
245.
listen, that's what it said. Like if I put it in my GPS when we were first leaving, if you're in a
Yeah,
car
that's
that
what it
had to
comes up.
stop for the bathroom 6 times, like 245. But you add in all the bathroom breaks and the fact that we're on a bus. Like, I feel like moving forward, I got to automatically add a half an hour. But on the way there, it took us like we were in the country, man. Like my
Oh
phone was
yeah.
in SOS mode for like an hour.
Yep.
I didn't know where we were. On the way back, we took all highways, so it was like a little bit better. But yeah, it was crazy. And the funny thing is, so we just had practice this morning. We have our home opener tomorrow, and like my message to the team was like, listen, we got a lot of youngsters. So we got a lot of kids adjusting to a lot of different things and have to play a lot of minutes. And, I think there's like this unspoken thing with freshmen where you can't be vocal and you can't lead because you're not an upperclassman. And I'm like,
Correct.
you have no choice. Like, I don't care if you've been here 2 days or you've been here 2 years. Like, you guys got to be vocal and you got to step out of your shells, or it's gonna be a really long season. So,
Yeah,
but
I noticed the same thing with the Yukon women. Um, they would put Paige in, and they would get a lead and take her out, and she was trying to facilitate with the freshmen um, and get them involved. And she was frustrated when they weren't making the plays that they should have. Um, my friend Kelly had watched the game intently, and she just could see, they put Paige in, they'd get a lead, and then they take her out, and the other team would come back, and it was just a tough back and forth battle. The game Sunday, I believe it was. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when they go down to when they play South Carolina. That's crazy right off the bat.
Yeah, well, they got North Carolina first.
Oh, it's North
Um,
Carolina first. Okay.
yeah, but North Carolina's good. So that'll be a big test. And yeah, it's crazy because she's got a couple of freshmen that are playing big minutes. She's got
Yeah.
Caitlin Chen, who is the transfer, which she's a grad student, but at this level she's still a newbie, right? And I think she's doing really well. And then you got Jana from Egypt, who was out all last year with an Achilles. So even though she was on the team, she's
Right.
really still a freshman too. So
Right. It's a
from a
very
basketball
young team.
perspective, yeah. But yeah, I thought they looked good. I thought everybody did some really good things the other day, and that's what you want early on. I mean, I think unfortunately for Paige, until she can get some of her classmates and upperclassmen back, um, it's going to
Yeah,
be a little.
like AZ, like AZ's a big part of it.
Yeah, you got Az, you got Aubrey Griffin, you got Caroline Ducharme. So you still got some upperclassmen that aren't, back, and I don't know what the timetable is for them, but anytime you can get, and then the whole thing is like, all right, well, now they haven't played in a long time, and how do they adjust? So it'll be an interesting year. I mean, listen, none of it really matters until March, anyways, right? So,
No, no, no. And they
um,
should be fine in the Big East, right? In the conference.
yeah, I mean, there's a couple of good teams in the conference, that are returning some people. Their out of conference schedule is tough,
Yeah.
um, but you know, they should be all right. I have faith that they'll string it together. I mean, you know, no one's going to play as hard as them and execute as well. It'll just be a matter of, if some of these youngsters start playing like upperclassmen really fast.
Yeah, David mentioned that just by talking with you, he can see leadership qualities and life qualities that were instilled in you from an early age that have transpired and taken place and have put you where you are. Gino really sets you up for life, like with everything, all his messages, everything he preaches as a coach. And I that was very interesting to see. Um, what did you take away from your first experience coaching at the college level? Um, did you start
Well,
fat? I know you coached at UConn, but I mean, running your own dairy is a little bit different. Did you feel you got off to a good start? Did you feel?
yeah, I mean, so we
Yeah.
played three good quarters on
Yep.
Saturday. We came out strong in the first quarter. It was 14-14 after the first. The second quarter, the hard part is when you're missing kids, and some of those kids, like we were missing one of our starting guards who's a senior, and I think that leadership from a basketball perspective, it's a big gap, because she kind of steadies the game, and we didn't have her on Saturday. We'll have her back this week, which will be great. But when you have freshmen in key roles that have never experienced, like you go
Yeah.
from the high school level, and even though it's D3, it's a whole other gear, you know. And unfortunately for us, we have a lot of key kids that are freshmen, and they're going to do freshman stuff. So, it's hard when you don't have a really big returning core, which we don't have. I mean, it's really positive for the future, you know. As you flash forward 2 years from now, and those kids will all be upperclassmen, and they'll know the stuff, they'll know how to play, and it's nerves. Like we had one kid um, sub in that I thought was going to play really well, and she played horrible, but she looked scared. Like you're overwhelmed, and
Yeah.
she was injured, so she didn't play in the two scrimmages. So I think for me, it's like the hardest part right now. I think coaching at this level is that I'm so used to a certain standard, and
Right.
I've experienced it in the other two places I've coached, where when you come in, you got to kind of like revamp and reset a standard of how we do things, and how we cut and how we defend, and it's a lot for freshmen to come in, do that, and then be held to such a high standard. So I think that one of the greatest things that I learned at UConn, through Coach and CD and Tanya and Jamel is, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So,
Very
that
true.
focus, that locked in mentality that you got to have at that level, like I have it in everything.
You
Um,
do.
but the game is so slow for me, even though it's fast, because of the amount of hours that I've put in and the standard that I've used to approach it. So it's hard to get kids to see things. Like this morning, I had to practice a little bit because we were missing a couple kids. And
You had to get out there?
yeah, and I'm making, and I don't even have my shoes tied, and I'm making passes where these kids are like, "Oh, coach," but I'm like, I already know where people are going to be open before they're even open, and it's just a matter of reps. It's just a matter of trying to see the game a little bit differently, and that doesn't matter what level you play at, right? Because that's all stuff that you can learn. Um, and I think like my big thing right now, and a couple of my mentors, which has been great the last couple of days, like I just got to be patient. It's just not a skill
Yeah.
that I possess. It's just I want success now, and sometimes it doesn't happen immediately. And I'm just preaching like if we could just get 1% better every day, like if you flash forward 30 days, you're 30% better.
We all want that instant gratification. And you took on a job that was not the easiest situation to walk into.
Yeah.
And you're seeing what Division 3 life is like,
Well,
with the
yeah,
bus and
and
the
and I got
bathrooms.
hired. I got hired late too, right? So like
Yeah,
these kids,
really late.
these kids didn't even do anything for like 2-3 months from a basketball perspective. Like maybe some pickup here and there, but for the most part, it's we're a month in where most teams are 3 months in. So it's we're behind the eight ball a little bit, but like I said, I'm just staying positive. I think come January we'll be really dangerous if we can just really, like I said, focus on getting 1% better every day, um, and getting these kids to like even just something as simple as like remembering the read on the play or being patient. Like you assume kids are going to be patient, and like they get out there and it's like the ball's on fire. So what?
Offensively, what type of offense are you running? Are you running some type of motion offense? Are you
Yeah,
running some type of isolation offense?
we run like positionless, so we're
Yeah,
trying to get them to just read and cut each other, and we have some one hitters if we're looking for a specific spot or to get someone a look that we want to get, but for the most part right now it's kind of like you know it's so understated, and we've talked about this before, but these kids come out and like from a skill perspective they're really strong, but in terms of like actually playing the game they're so far behind. Like something as simple as like you pass the ball, you got to move somewhere. Like you can't just stand there. You either
yeah,
got to screen, you got to cut. Like you would think that kids in college know how to do that, and they just don't yet. So it's like move. I have a 3-second rule. If you're standing in the same spot for 3 seconds, move. Go somewhere. It's stuff like that, and I'm trying to teach that in the offense because if we can get that down, then we can get into some different motions and plays where we can get very specific looks off of it. But right now, it's just move. Like, just
yeah.
move the ball, stop dribbling so much, which at times is frustrating, but we'll get there.
Did you find that some of the girls were, besides the one, but the girls in general were hesitant to take shots?
Oh my God. I said to my assistants and I were laughing the other day, we've been coaching together for quite a bit now. And I said, this is the first team I've ever coached where I have to tell kids to shoot. Like normally
Right.
it's the other way around. Like a kid takes a shot too early or like forces it. These kids the other day, we probably passed up 30 open shots. And
They
then we
just
get,
didn't want to take it. Yeah.
and then we get down, and it's like, okay, the shot clock's running down, and now we got to take some crazy shot because we don't want to just shoot when we're open. It's wild. I mean, it's good from a perspective that I don't feel like we have any kids on our team that are selfish. So that's a positive because every other
Yeah,
team
it's
I've
huge.
coached, there's been one or two kids that like you got to tell them like, listen, move the ball. So we don't have that issue, but what they're not understanding is that you come off a screen and you're wide open for a jumper. That might be the best look we get that set, right? Like
Right.
that possession, and now you passed it up, and now we're taking a much lower percentage shot because you passed it up. So you become easier to guard when you won't shoot. Um,
Very.
and like, listen, if you don't shoot, the ball can't go in, right? So it's like we go down, and I'm like, all right, we just passed up 3 open shots, and some of that again is nerves. I think, our guard that we were missing, a lot of those shots she would have taken, whether they would have gone in or not is irrelevant, but like at least it gives us an opportunity to score. So definitely a positive that none of them are selfish and only looking for them, because that's a whole other issue that you got to coach through, right? Like if you got one kid that's gunning it every single time they touch it, which I've had
Big
before,
time. Yeah.
and then everybody gets kind of down because they're like, as soon as the ball gets swinged, it's going up. But we don't have that. We have the opposite, where it's like, guys, shoot the ball. Like we can't score if we don't shoot. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you guys travel well? Did the parents come?
We had a couple of parents there. We had some people, some alum there. It was tough. It was because it was such a far drive, and we have kids that are from the total opposite side of the state. So you're talking like
Yeah.
a 5-hour drive for some parents. But I'm looking forward. We got 2 home games this week, so I hope we get a decent crowd that comes out for those.
Yeah. Yeah. Wednesday, right?
Yeah, we play tomorrow. We play Mount St. Vincent,
Oh,
and then
yes.
we play, I believe, York College on Saturday.
Yes. York College in Danbury.
Yeah, I don't know where the heck it is. It's over the
At
border there.
It's at the O'Neill Center in Danbury, Connecticut, which I have
Oh
been
yeah,
to.
that's where we play. That's our home game, and I'm not sure
That's
where
your
York is from. Yeah. Yep.
yeah, I'm not sure where York is either. I've never it's non-conference though, correct?
Yeah, still non-conference. We don't have our first conference game until this Sunday after Thanksgiving. So.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to see where York is. I've never heard of the York Cardinals.
Got it.
Oh, they're from Jersey. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not too far of a drive, maybe like 2 hours, 2.5, but we're home, so irrelevant. But yeah, so that's
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. I see it. I see it. I see it. They're I'm sorry. They are in Jamaica, New York. They're in
oh,
Jamaica,
there
New
we go.
York.
Yeah.
York College. York College. And then you have Nichols, which is in Massachusetts, and they're
Yep.
playing at home.
Yep. Yep.
And,
So
and then and then John Jay.
yep. So we got a
So
couple of games coming up, which is good.
so your in conference schedule is that like Plymouth State,
Yeah, we got
Elmira, Cobleskill?
yeah. So we got like Keene State, Southern Maine, Eastern,
Okay.
RIT. Yeah, it's a pretty strong conference. So
Yeah.
we'll have our work
Yeah.
cut out for us. We play everybody home and away. In
Right.
conference, play everybody twice.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right. UMass
so
Dartmouth,
yeah, UMass
UMass
Boston.
Massachusetts. Wow. 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 Um, that's a, that's an that's a that, that's a the schedule is like a lot of driving. Like the road
Yeah,
games. I mean, you're in
yeah,
Vermont, you're in Maine,
yep.
Massachusetts. Wow. I mean, it's kind of spread out for a
That's
Division three schedule.
that's why
Um,
we need buses with bathrooms, man. Because
that you need buses with
buses
bathrooms.
with bathrooms.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
So you just got on there, and the bus driver's like, "Yeah, just so you know, we don't have any bathrooms. The bathrooms don't work."
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It's bad news.
Did
It's
you
like
did you tell the AD?
yeah, she was like, because anything over 2 hours and we're supposed to have a bathroom. We get on the bus on the way home, and like when you're on the way home, you just want to get home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially after a loss. Like the last thing you want to do
Exactly.
is on a bus. We're not even a half an hour into the drive, and one of the girls is like, "Coach, I have to go to the bathroom," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna be like brutal." But what are you gonna do?
Well, at least you were on the highway, so there were some rest stops because
Yeah.
the other way to go when you're on the back roads, there's nowhere to really stop.
There's not even street lights back there. It's like pitch black.
No,
So,
no,
you know,
there's not.
but yeah, so that was our first road game.
You're baptized. You're baptized. You're
Yeah,
now an official head coach.
yep. It was funny because I was just like sitting there and I was like, oh man, this is the D3 life. We're just on a bus with no bathroom, driving 4 hours on a Saturday. It's great. But it's all good. I mean, those are the times when you get to chill with your teammates and you form bonds and stuff like that. So it's all good. But
I felt the same way when I coached at Utica University when we were driving 3.5, 4 hours to Alfred University and back. I was like, never in my life would I
yeah,
picture going to Alfred twice in the
yep,
same season. It's like crazy.
yeah.
But I mean, so how did you get a 9:30 practice on a Tuesday? I mean, that's
We
interesting.
practiced 7 to 9. So we have there's like 1 week left of volleyball. So there's a home volleyball game tonight. So because we're hosting, the gym is not available later. So it's
Okay.
either like go practice for a half an hour the day before a game or go early. And like me personally, like, I mean, it stinks because I live like an hour away, but I'd
Yeah.
rather get in and get it over with and have the rest of the day than kind of just like hanging around. I mean, we technically could have practiced at 9 o'clock tonight,
Yeah,
but
you want to do that.
it's like I'd rather them rest their bodies for the rest of the day and feel nice and fresh tomorrow. So we actually did that last Friday. We practiced at 7 a.m. too. So it was it's interesting because you got the kids, like you can tell just some kids are just not morning people, and then some actually look a little bit better in the morning. They're like more alert. So it's
Are, are they allowed to get something to eat before practice? Is there any way to get to the dining hall before
yeah. I
practice?
mean, I don't know how many of them hit the dining hall at 6:30 this morning, but
Yeah.
because we watched film at 7, and then we went 7:15 to like 9:15 on the floor. So, but I'm sure a bunch of them are heading over to the calf afterwards. Yeah, that's when you hit like a Quest bar and a Powerade, or a banana.
Yeah. Right. Right. That is so true. That is so true. Because we went to morning practices, and I felt that. I mean, I like doing it better. I like doing it better because like this, it gets the kids off their feet the rest of the day, and
Yep.
they can take the night classes that they need, and it made things easier. But like I understand with you living an hour away, it is not easy. That is a lot.
No, I mean I was driving there this morning and I was like, and it's still dark, because the sun hasn't
Yeah, right. Because the daylight
yet.
savings.
And we practiced until 7:30 last night, so I got home, had a
Oh, and
quick
you're right
dinner,
back.
and then right back. So, but yeah, listen, it is what it is. I don't mind getting up, and having the rest of my day too, because then it gives me the ability to do a lot of other stuff that I need to do. So, um, I don't want to practice at 7 a.m. every day because the problem for me too is that when I practice early, my assistants aren't there because they have jobs. So
Correct.
it's just me.
Oh, so it's just you. Okay.
Yeah, which is again isn't the end of the world. Like I'm highly capable of running practice,
Hmm.
but it's tough because you can't do split work.
Right.
where, you have guards on one end, posts on the other, because there's only one coach there to run it. So it's just a little bit different. I mean, today we did a bunch of scout stuff and, just kind of reiterated our plays and offenses that we put in, because I still struggle to get all the kids there, every day for practice. So,
Yeah.
it's not the easiest. So the morning
If
is nice because I get all the kids.
Okay, so you do get all the kids. When you don't get all the kids, do you try to meet with them individually or meet with
Yeah,
them as a group and watch film and go over things with them
yeah.
when you
What
have the
we've done
time?
is we've tried to record like a lot of stuff that we do at practice for the kids that aren't there, so they can go in
Okay.
and review what they've missed. Um, it's just funny. Like the other day, when I had to play some kids I normally maybe wouldn't have played as much on Saturday, and it's like three people know the play and then the other two don't. And like the funny part is we use Huddle, so that's
Hmm.
where all our video and stuff is. And I'll be like, you guys need to go in and review the stuff that we missed.
And you
So
can
I'll
check and see who's
well,
watching too.
well, that's the best part, right? So I rhetorically asked on Saturday, like, how many of you guys went in and reviewed all the stuff? Everybody's hand goes up, and I'm like, you guys are
Yeah,
lying.
you're
Like
all
some of
lying.
you guys haven't even activated your accounts yet, and I can see down to the second how much film they've actually gone
I
in and
know.
watched.
That's
So it's
hilarious.
tough. And it's some of the kids, like, who's going to go in and who's going to watch. And then there's some kids, like, they get it already, so maybe they don't need to. But it's always interesting because everybody always is like, oh, yeah, I went in and watched, until I say, oh, really? Like, you guys realize
Yeah.
that I can see.
You realize I know.
Yeah.
So
So,
what's the rest of your day now look like? You had your practice.
yeah.
Where are you off to now?
So I'm going to go home right now, shower, and then I have
Yep. You got meetings.
client meetings for the rest of the day. I'll break down some more film today. I'll watch some more of St. Vincent's for tomorrow, just so that, and again, it's still that weird time of the year because we're their first game. So, the scout that I'm basing it off of is from last year.
Yeah.
So, I'm
You
assuming
know
that
what
they're
you're
going to
gonna
run
get.
some of the same stuff, but who knows? They could be like us and have totally different people and different whatever. So, I'll go in and try to prepare as best as possible. After tomorrow, we should be able to at least um, have at least a game that they've played already this year. Because by the time we get to Saturday, York would have already played a game, so we'll pull that. So it'll be a little bit more streamlined.
How does the film exchange work with you guys? Do you
Yeah,
guys
so
send each other film?
no, it's not even like that.
Not sound, but
So we have Symmetry, so you can go and pull pretty much any game off of Symmetry. When
okay.
you play a team, the home team exchanges the huddle with the game film with the team that they just played. So it's pretty easy now. It used to be like you give us two games, we'll give you two games.
Correct.
But now that everybody has Symmetry, you can kind of just go on and pull whatever you need to. So
Oh, you can.
yeah,
You have access to whatever you want.
yeah, which is better that way versus
Yeah.
having to hunt people down to exchange film. It's just like just put it
No,
out
it's a
there.
disaster.
Most of these teams stream live now, anyways, ever since COVID. So you could technically just go in and screen record a game and pull it there. So it's not a huge deal, but um, so yeah, so that's the rest of my day, and then tomorrow I have kind of a neat day. I have two kids from Greens Farms Academy that I coached last year have their national signing day tomorrow, so I'll hop over, and I
Oh,
have
that's
one kid.
great.
Yeah, I have one kid who's signing with Princeton, and then another who's signing with High Point. So I'll get to see them and celebrate that a little bit, and then I'll head over to Danbury for the game. So
That's really special that
yeah, I'm
you got
excited.
a kid to Princeton. I mean, that is not easy.
Yeah, great kid too. I mean, she's going for soccer. She probably could play basketball too, but 'cause she's a phenomenal basketball player. But great student. great all-around kid. And then the other kid, have you ever seen High Point University?
I
There's
have not. No.
it is one of the most beautiful campuses I've ever seen.
Where is
Um,
it?
it's in North Carolina. It's
Oh,
gorgeous. Um, so she's going there. Great academic school, great basketball program. So yeah, I'm really excited for both of them, and to be able to be there tomorrow to watch them sign is really cool.
yeah. I did want to ask you, what are you running defensively? Are you playing
Yeah,
man? Are you playing
yeah,
zone? Are you pressing?
yeah. We do a little bit of everything. So we'll play
Yeah,
man. We'll play like a 1-2-2 trapping press. The other day we did some man full court press. Um, it's a nice thing about having a lot of freshmen is you got young legs. We have a decent sized roster, so we can sub people in pretty quickly, try to get some stops and subs. So we'll run. I'm trying to get them right now to just offensively play faster. Like they tend to just kind of walk the ball up, and I'm like, why? Like we want to get
we got
transition.
to go. Yeah,
So
More
we worked on that the
possessions.
last. Yeah, we worked on that the last 2 days. Getting someone to the basket line faster and getting the ball up the court. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow. I'm hopeful that it'll be better. But yeah.
And what did you think? I just saw this that UConn is playing Louisville in Germany on
Oh yeah.
Thursday.
Oh no, I thought it was next year. You're talking
Oh,
about the boys
next year.
or
I'm
the
sorry.
girls?
I'm sorry. It's
Yeah,
next year. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think it's
That's
awesome. I
crazy.
mean, it's such a great experience when you get to travel abroad.
Yeah.
So I love seeing stuff like that. Like I know USC just finished up playing in Paris. I mean, what an experience. My 4 years when I was at UConn, we got kind of screwed because, once every 4 years, you're supposed to be able to travel abroad.
Right.
Well, my sophomore year, 9/11 happened, and that kind of like it shut it down.
Oh, that's
So
right.
we were one of the only classes that never got to go play abroad, which was unfortunate. But yeah, I think it's really cool. I wish they would do more of that type of stuff. I think women's basketball abroad has become so popular. It's great if you could take two teams from the states and go over there and play a game and get to experience a different culture. I mean, I lived in Germany.
Yeah.
Germany is such a cool place.
Love it.
Yeah, it's gorgeous there. I mean, a lot of history, a lot of different things you can see. So I'm excited for them.
They love their Americans too.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, UConn, with the injury situation and playing so many young players, do you see them staying ranked number two? Do you see them dropping some games in the non-conference schedule because they play a fairly difficult non-conference schedule? They're fairly inexperienced and they're still coming back with those injured players. Do you think that
Yeah.
they'll stay strong?
I mean, we got the best player in the country in Paige.
We do.
We got the best coaching staff in the country, in my opinion.
Yep.
We got some really nice pieces, and I mean, could we drop a couple? Yeah, of course. I mean, I think any time that you're not roster deep and somebody gets into foul trouble or somebody doesn't play well on the road, like that could happen. But I think we'll stay ranked pretty high until somebody knocks us off.
Yeah.
We already saw a couple of top 15 teams lose. Duke lost to Maryland the
Mm-hmm.
other day. I thought Maryland looked really good.
They did.
They got a couple of recruits and transfers in that are playing really well. So I thought they
Creighton
looked good. I
lost
thought Duke
too.
looked. Yep, Creighton lost. So we've seen some teams. And NC State played well against South Carolina. I thought they hung in there. I think that we're starting to see like, hey, it doesn't matter if South Carolina graduated a couple of people; they're still pretty loaded. Um, so I thought they looked really good against NC State. Um, they obviously graduated Camila Cardoza, but they had two other players step right into the mix and play really well. So I think they're another team. Like until they get knocked off, they're gonna just stay up there.
And Gino is, I believe, one win away from tying the all-time record.
Yeah, it's crazy because obviously they got to get through North Carolina, and if everything goes as planned, next Wednesday, when all of us are up there for his 40th,
Yeah.
on my birthday, he should be breaking it for the all-time winningest coach. So it should be a pretty special night. Either way, it'll be special because we'll be celebrating him and his CD and their 40th season. But it would be even more special if he becomes the all-time winningest coach with a bunch of us there in the stands. So I'm excited to get back there and support and just be a part of this amazing culture that they've built.
No, I'm not familiar with, unfortunately, Tara Van Derver. Is that how you say her last name?
Vanderveer. Yeah, Vanderveer.
Vanderveer. Yep. Tara Vanderveer. What's her story? I mean, how long did she coach for? And do you know, like, did she retire recently, or was it something that happened a while ago?
No, last year was her last year. So,
Okay.
Yep, it was towards the end of the season where she decided, that would be her last year. I mean, she's been at Stanford like over 30 years. I don't think she's quite hit her 40th year like Coach
Oh,
has.
wow.
I would have to look that up. In fact, I'll do that right now because I'm interested. But yeah, I mean, she's been kind of a staple, and again, one of those coaches that has really just always been successful. And
I thought it was Pat Summitt too. I didn't know it was her.
Yeah, well, don't forget, Pat obviously
Had to step down. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace. Obviously, she would for sure be right up there with them if she was still around or was able to coach a little bit longer. But yeah, it's just crazy. Some of these coaches, the amount of success that they've had at the same university for so long.
Yeah, and we're going to see less and less of that.
38 seasons. That was her 38th season. Yeah.
We're going to see less and less of that.
Yep.
Because athletic directors don't have patience, and the money is changing everything. I had talked to Mike Burton for Bleeding Blue, and this is going to be the first season that television revenue the schools are going to be able to pay out to the student athletes. And UConn doesn't, get television revenue, at least for football. So he was saying, how challenging it's going to be because they're going to have to raise more money for the collective because they're not going to get the television revenue. It's $20 million capped a year that each school is going to get to spend on their, athletic department. And that's what UConn isn't going to have. So Dave was saying that right now UConn is having success because of Coach Hurley and Coach Oriema. They're the institutions, they're the foundations, they are why kids want to come play in stores. And whatever happens, if Coach Hurley goes to the league in a few years, Gino steps down, and whenever he does, it's going to be a challenge without those resources, without those financial resources. So I really hope that we are able to get into a conference to get that revenue, because it's going to make all the difference in the world. We have the best facilities. We have so much great talent. But if we don't get that revenue, it's going to be devastating because we're a publicly funded university. We're a state school, and that's what kind of scares us. We have nightmares about that. We just hope that we find a way to to get into one of the Power Five schools, and then the rest will take care of itself. Because I think if we do, we'll be able to compete. I think if we do, especially basketball wise, basketball, I mean, Big Ten, SEC, ACC. Do you think UConn would be fine? Would be successful?
Basketball wise, yeah, they would be fine in any of those
Yeah.
conferences. Are they going to steamroll everybody like they do in the Big East? Probably not, but they're still going to be at the top, if not the top of those conferences, I believe.
Yeah.
But it's like the flip side of it is where would our football team be? Which, by the way, speaking about football, did you see the clip yesterday? Morgan actually sent it to me, where they were ragging on Dan on the show about his QB rating or whatever.
Thunder Dan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
He did not seem happy about that.
No, he takes it very personally. Thunder Dan. Hey, dude, you know what? I give him all the credit in the world. I think he was a 5th round pick, and he lasted like 13, 14, 15 years. I mean, he always had a job.
No way.
He did, I'm telling you.
No way. I'm going to look that up. I don't think that's accurate. That can't be.
He played more. He played more than 10 years. Because I remember being surprised that he was on the sideline when Peyton Manning was there. Obviously with Detroit, but I mean he bounced around quite a bit. Let me see.
I had 12 seasons.
Yeah, he played 12 years. Like you never would have expected that.
Primarily as a backup.
Yeah, he didn't start. I mean, and he's most famous for running out the back of the end zone. But other than that,
it actually starts. It says, despite playing in very few games, Arlovsky managed to have a 12-year professional career. And
he did.
Right. But I think like with Dan, what I always appreciated about him is his attention to detail of the game and like being a student of the game. So I think when you have a guy that is committed in that way, it's like it's not a loss on the roster because it's good to have some of those guys around. I mean there are worse jobs to have than only having to stand on the sideline for 12 years and making buco bucks. So
I thank Dan. Yeah. Well, at the end of my senior year, I thanked Dan and Terry Cawley because without them, UConn football would not have had the success that it had. Like they springboarded it, especially Dan did 2002, 2003, 2003 he just tore it up. 2004's first year in the Big East, his stats dropped a little bit. But then, after him, we really struggled to get a good quarterback. That was the issue. We really struggled to get another quarterback like Dan. And Dan committed to UConn as a sophomore. I mean,
well, he's a Connecticut kid.
Shelton, yep.
Shelton, he's a Valley boy. Although, I don't know how much he would admit that now, but he's a Valley guy.
I wonder where he does live now. I wonder if he lives right by Bliss, Bristol, or.
No, he lives in Westport.
He does live in Westport. Okay. Yeah, he. The other guy is Sean Mulcahy. I gotta find him. Sean Mulcahy.
He's Connecticut too.
I know he is, but he always used to be on the UConn broadcast when they had the old Big East network.
Yeah, and he did a good job.
He did a great job. I used to text him all the time when he was on the air to screw with him, and he'd respond to me. And I thought he did a great job. And then I haven't been able to find him. Yeah. If you have his number still, text me his number.
You know what? I don't ever see him on social media. I'm friends with his
I
wife.
never do either.
His wife is on it a lot. I think they have 2 kids.
Yes.
I know his wife had a battle with cancer. She's such a trooper.
Right.
I follow her online, and we comment on each other's stuff. So yeah, I can message her and see if we can get Sean's number and get him on here to talk sports. Cause
No, because I always
he's a
loved
killer
Sean.
fan. Yeah, he's a good dude.
I used to get him Yankees tickets all the time when I had a
Yeah.
connection there. And
His wife Maggie is a sweetheart. She's she's great.
how did
So
you know his wife? Was she a UConn girl?
she's a UConn girl too.
Okay.
And I had met her, I think, through him like a couple of different times. So yeah, we're I say we're Facebook friends. We've never like hung out, but
Okay.
you follow and support and like and comment and stuff, and she's great. So
All right, yeah, just message her and see because
yeah,
I'd love to catch up with him. I'd love to talk with him. I'd love to get him on the show because I haven't heard
yep,
from him in a while. But I know you have to go to your meeting and get to your day, and you already had your practice. We'll be watching closely for tomorrow. Your games stream on your website.
yep,
Do you know if you do?
yeah,
Okay. All
yeah.
right.
Just go
So
right onto
I'll
the WestCon website, click on our schedule, and then there'll be a link to be able to live stream. We're at
beautiful.
6 o'clock tomorrow.
I'll definitely watch for sure. I'll definitely watch for sure. So,
Awesome.
and Layla's good, family's good, everyone's happy.
Everybody's great, man. Everything's good.
All
Everything's
right.
good.
Well,
So
Maria, I love you. I'm glad that you got your first game under your belt and
thank
you're
you.
gonna rebound from it and you guys are continue to develop, improve, and be great. So, and I know you won't get discouraged because nobody's won more than you. So you can handle it. You can get through anything. So
Yeah, we'll keep battling.
I'll be watching tomorrow and I'll keep in touch and
All right.
thank you again. So
Sounds
for the Western Connecticut State women's basketball coach, my cohort who hates buses that do not have bathrooms, Maria Conlon. I am the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. This has been Husky Talk Conversations with Cully and Conlon. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges and hope your bus has a